Hi everyone, today we're going to talk about letter formation as one of our first handwriting lessons. And to do this, I want you to think about the way you write your letters, as in exactly where your pen goes on the page. So to illustrate this, I'm going to start with a heart shape. When I'm paying attention to this shape and the way I draw it, I notice that I start in the centre, I circle to the left, I lift up my pen and I circle back to the right. But there's no particular right or wrong way. I could start at the bottom, I could circle to the right, do it all in one go. Doesn't really matter for this shape. So for the first piece of writing you do, I want you to start with a lowercase letter A. Write one on your page now. Pay close attention to where you start, where your pen goes, and where you finish. For the letter A, you should be starting towards the top right-hand side of your letter, circling round to the left, and finishing with an exit flick. Watch that again. Around, up, and down with a flick. If your letter A did match that shape, give it a tick on top. If, for example, your letter A went a different way, maybe you started down at the bottom, or perhaps you did it all in one go, something like this. If your letter A went a different way, I want you to put a question mark on top. There's lots of reasons why we want our letters to be consistent when we write. It's important that your writing is legible. That means that everyone can read it. It's also important that it goes in a direction that will help with fluency. If your letters are fluent and you can join one to the other, that helps you write more quickly. If my letter A started at the bottom and finished here, I'm going off in that direction. So if I wanted to join to another letter, say I was writing and, like this, I wouldn't be able to join the A and the N. I'd get stuck. And suddenly, people won't be sure what I'm writing. So today we're going to look at each of your lowercase letters. I'm going to ask you to write the letter first, and then look and see if your pen is going in the same direction as the one I'll show you. Give it a tick if you do, give it a question mark if you don't. Let's start with the letter B. Write a lowercase b now. The letter B starts at the top, it goes down, lifts up and around to finish. If yours matched, give it a tick. If not, a question mark. Then try the letter C. C starts at the top of the letter, curves round to the left. Try the letter D. D matches C. It also starts in the middle, goes around to the left, comes up to the top, finishes at the bottom. Try the letter E. E starts in the centre, loops around and then goes anti-clockwise to finish. Give it a tick or a question mark. The letter F. F starts towards the top, curves around, comes down, crosses to finish. Try G. G goes in an anti-clockwise direction, like C and D did. G starts in the middle of those lines, curves around, lifts up, finishes with the tail. Try H. H is a tall letter. It starts up at the top, down to the line, up and around. Now you might be doing exit flicks for some of your letters, that's okay. That would look like this. Both are correct. Next is I. Start at the top, finish with the dot. And J, just the same. Starts at the top, finish with the dot. Remember to be ticking or question marking as you go. Next is K. In New South Wales Foundation font that we practice, K has a loop. So you start with the downstroke, starting at the top, and you move down. You then lift your pencil off the page, not too far, just a bit. Bring it back up to the centre. Loop around and kick out to make your letter K. Letter L, nice and easy, top to bottom, with or without an exit flick. The letter M starts on the left, downstroke, up and over, up and over. The letter N, just the same, starts at the top, one loop. You'll notice from last week that I'm making sure my letters are sloping. They're leaning to the right as if they're running across the page. Next is the letter O. Letter O goes anti-clockwise. Now, I wasn't really happy with that O, so feel free to try that again if you're not happy with one of them. Added an exit flick that time. The letter P starts in the middle, downstroke, lift your pen, then loop around. You can see there that I ended up with a bit of a crisscross in that section, so I'll try that again. Better. The letter Q, or the anti-clockwise letter, downstroke and a flick. The letter R, downstroke and a little hook around. Next is S. S starts at the top, snakes around to the bottom. The letter T, concentrating on that slope, starting at the top, finishing with the cross. The letter U, starting at the top. You'll notice there, good time to point out, that with your letters, and it's a bit hard to show with a stylus here, but you want to try and aim for this sort of section here. The letter N over here does it pretty well as well. This letter H is quite good. That I'm not making a really round shape. I've got not quite a point. That's what we want to aim for when we're writing our letters. So this B here is probably, even though the direction is correct, this D, sorry, is probably a little bit round. Just another thing to look out for. So the direction here was still correct. I could give that a tick because that's what we're focusing on today. But I'd know for next time that I'm going to try and have a bit more of a point. Moving on to the letter V. Nice and easy, same shape as the U but without the downstroke on the right. Still looking for that little pointed bend rather than a curvy bend. I use that same shape together to make W. Now X is an interesting one because there are lots of different ways that you could go. In order to be able to link it to other letters, The way that we teach in New South Wales is to start on the top left and do your downstroke, and then to start on the bottom left to do your upstroke. Later on we'll learn that there's a few different ways we can join to that letter. Remember to give it a tick or a question mark. Moving on to Y, starting on the left, just like our U, letter U, but it keeps going. You might be doing a little bit more of a speed loop like this. And you could do that for some other letters as well, like your letter G or J. It's up to you. Finishing off with the letter Z. Z starts on the top left, right, down, and right. I'll try that one again. Right, down, and right. Remember to give it a tick or a question mark. So, where to from here? For each question mark that you got, I want you to rewind and practice. Notice that was the SE for the verb, not the CE for the noun. You've probably been writing your letters like this for a really long time, so it'll take a bit of time to be able to retrain your hand to write them in a new way. You just need to practice, 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 remembering that perfect practice makes perfect. If you're feeling pretty confident and you had lots of ticks, you can either move on to a new activity or, if you like, work on some fluency patterns. These will help with your cursive or running writing later on. Some good examples might just be lots of loops, an up loop and a down loop. Might do lots of half S's. Or perhaps if you know that you still need to work on your slope after last week, you might practice just downstrokes or particular letters using that slope. It's up to you.